Happy New Year's, everyone. It's 2025, and you know, just thinking back on it, 2024 was a wild year for me. It started out very depressed, actually, down to the point of wanting to look at the gun. There was points in my depression where I would just tell myself, I just want to look at the gun. I just want to look at it. I just want just to look at it. I just want to stare at it. Pretty much telling myself that I want to. Let's make sure this is all. Is that straight? Yeah, it looks straight. It looks straight. That looks straight. Hey, but pretty much telling myself that I want to consider it. I want to consider that suicide. That place of no return. Just because almost every moment was just pure anxious, anxious, anxious agony. Just almost like your whole body is vibrating. And, it's good for like 5 minutes. But when your body vibrates for 24 hours every month for 6 months, at some point you just kind of wanted to stop. I don't know if that's a good analogy, because you probably get pretty used to the vibrations, but yeah, it's just one of those things. So there was 1 or 2 times where it was just want to look at it, especially when my parents weren't home. Yeah, especially whenever my parents weren't home. I think that only really happened once, and one of my mentors had to. I called her, and thankfully I did. Called her, and she said, "You're not in a good mindset. You have to come to my house or your grandparents' house." And I chose her house, and we got Marco's Pizza. She got buffalo wings, and I don't know if I'd be here if it wasn't for her. I can't say for certain because I didn't do any planning. I didn't write any letters. I didn't say I was going to do it or tell myself I'm going to do it. But when you realize that most suicides aren't planned, and that most people decide to kill themselves within 5 to 10 minutes of doing that action, you begin to realize, I've began to realize how close I was. How very, very close I was. Especially with the gun, it's just easy compared to the other methods. So in that state, it was just like, yeah, what else was I supposed to do? It was my thinking. And so that was what I was going through that first couple months. I remember on my birthday, April 27th, I went to try to go to a hike, just tried to get up and go somewhere. And of course, the I think it was Inks Lake I was going to. There's only, for that state park, there's only one way in, one way out, and it was slightly flooded. And it was to the point that my car could have went or could have not. It might have made it might have not. And I was just anxious, not so indecisive, going back and forth and trying to figure out. I would drive forward, then I would drive all the way back, take a right, go down, and then I would turn around and say, no, I got to go back. And I would turn around and go that way. At one point, I just said, I'm going home. And along my, like 10 to 15 minutes later, I popped the tire. And of course, you say that happens to everyone, right? But my car during this time, it was, I want to say, representative of my mental state. I got in I rear-ended someone in December, and I had to replace the bumper pretty much. So that was the first thing. Then I had this pop tire, right? And so I had to put a new tire on there. And it was a different tire comparative to all the other tires. So now I looked like I didn't care about my car because I didn't care about my car. And the outside was getting just completely dirty. The inside was completely dirty because I never knew when and to get a car wash or not. I was freaking out that it was getting dirty, right? I'd tell myself, I need to go. Oh my God, why am I not getting up and going to car wash? And then being too depressed to actually go and do it. And then the final straw was doing the fender bender and totaling my car. And I think it's kind of funny because I think that was a physical representation of where I was in my life. At that time, I was starting to get out of my depression, and when I crashed the car and totaled it, it was almost like I was killing my old self, which is weird. So, because I had a Dodge Challenger, the only real car I've driven was a Dodge Challenger because passed me down was a 2010 Dodge Challenger. I wrecked that as well. And then drove the Ford Expedition for a little bit, but then bought the 2016 Dodge Challenger. So for most of my life, I've had a Dodge Challenger. And maybe that was... life is weird, right? So I can't say. But I will say, if this was a book, that would be probably the representation of myself, right? So when I first got out the car, it was red. It was 2010, right? So that was my personality. I was maybe not a Dodge Challenger because I'm more of a soccer mom kind of man, but that was someone who I was. And then I wrecked it, and I said, no, I'm not letting myself go like that. I'm not letting my tragic past and the things that happened to me during high school all go away. No, I'm gonna say, screw you guys. I'm gonna get a Dodge Challenger and prove to you guys that I am still good. I'm still good. I'm still Matthew. Oh, I'm okay. So I got the 2016 Dodge Challenger, and I had it for like 8 years. I think so. Yeah, about 8 years, because I think after senior year, or during senior year, I got it. So yeah, about 8 years. And then I totaled that too. And after replacing it with a Nissan Altima 2024. Great car, by the way. I haven't had much problems with it. I do need to put more air into it, but besides the point. But I think for me, it was a physical representation of me finally letting go. Finally being able to say that, you know what? The only thing that really matters right now is what's happening right here, right now. I don't have to prove to anyone anything. I don't have to even prove it to myself. All I have to do is love myself unconditionally, love others unconditionally, and love the world unconditionally. And then life, that's how life goes. You continue on. There's no past, there's no future. It's whatever. Future's your imagination, and the past is your memories. But they aren't what's happening. What's happening is now. And nor does your ego matter. Your ego doesn't you don't need to be prideful about the person you are. You don't need to be resentful or envious of other people. You don't need any of that if you have this unconditional love for yourself. That to say, hey, look, I'm going to love you and make sure you're okay. Me, talking to myself that I'm going to be okay. That I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure you're okay. I'm going to make sure your priorities and what needs to be done are put forward first. I'm going to find out what life wants for myself so I can fulfill it to the best of my abilities. And at least for right now, this is one of them. I'm on like 51, I think. I don't think a single person has clicked any of the new ones. But for me, it's okay. It's fine. Because I'd be doing this until I die with no views. Because I know this is part of my authentic self. And I know for me, this is a lot more than just getting views. This is talking through my life. It's polishing my skills of speech, of being comfortable with talking into the camera, and then talking to someone else, really. And talking to crowds of people that could be behind the camera. And also thinking through my life and the philosophical ideas I have as well. And meditating on it and knowing that even though it's like a lot of days I'm lazy, I don't want to do it. Once I get started, the amount of energy I get afterwards from just talking about these philosophical and moral ideas and trying to piece them out, piece them together and piece them out, and fiddle around with them. So invigorating and so fun and enjoyable and just energizing that it's wild that I ever thought of a life other than one with vlogging and talking to the camera. Now, of course, that is not what makes me me, right? It's what I follow, what life asks of me. And since we're in a technological age, this is what life is asking from me, right? It's, oh, I gotta stop saying right. But yeah, we have these technologies and this ability to spread information worldwide at an instant. So why if life is saying, hey, look, there's new technology that you can use to better yourself and hopefully better others, then that's pretty clear indication, at least for me, for the philosophical path I want to go down. Yeah, so, and it's been wild so far. 2024 since August. No, actually all of 2024 just has been a wild ride. From going to some depressed, anxious, possibly suicidal person to now going to leave to travel around the world for 20 months. Yeah, it's wild how I even came here to this point. So I hope your New Year's was great too, and hopefully I hope you guys to review your year. Kind of like what I did right here. Just review your year, see where you came from, where you're heading, what could go better, what you could do better, and how it has shaped you, and how you want 2025 to shape you. I think one thing to end it off with is I'm hoping for 2025, if life allows me, I hope my travels will shape me and help me learn more about not only myself and my values and my perspective, but other values and perspectives, and hopefully I can contrast that with my own values and perspectives and glean a little bit more about what life is about. I know I can learn a lot out of that right where I'm at, but for me and my authentic self, this seems like the next step in my journeys. And hopefully 2025 I'll be that. Actually, I don't want to hope. I'll make it that, right? Whatever does happen, I will make it something I can learn from. And from that, I'll get hope. But first, it starts in here and in here. So, even if I don't go traveling, if something catastrophic happens and I don't, I'll learn from it. And I'll continue to love this life. Just because we don't have much of it left. So I hope you guys have a great rest of 2025. And I will see you tomorrow. Toodles.